called Robert Edwards, and it wasn't in the game, but he had an injury that pretty much almost ended his career. He did come back and play for a little bit, but it really impacted his career. So you don't want to have that. So I get it. So I'm just like, here's my suggestion. It's just a suggestion. It's just something the NFL may think about, tuning into this show. I know they're listening. So why don't we change this thing? Because it's not a full contact sport at this point. You got some guys that do bumping each other and all this stuff, but let them play flag football, because that's basically what we're watching. Let them play flag football, because we all know football is one of the hardest sports. You can't replicate those impact plays and all that stuff, because guys are laying the wood on each other. They are hitting each other out there. So you can't replicate that. It's either you got to do it or you're not. And when you're not, it looks really bad. So instead of just doing that, let's just play flag football. And to me, here's the benefits, of it, is that everybody that's on offense is an eligible receiver. Yep, even the linemen and everything, because now it changes up. Sometimes they'll block, sometimes they'll run out for a route. Who wouldn't want to see big man running a post route or something like that trying to catch the ball? Then also, since you're playing flag football, there's no helmets, at this point. Now, all these guys that are pro football all-stars, if you will, they get the opportunity to show the world their face. Obviously they do some sideline reporting and all that stuff during the show, but it's nothing like if the whole game you see, oh, that's what, such and such look like. Oh, that's what such and such look like. It's an opportunity to get their face, out there. And it's more face time, for the players, and trying to grab a flag, I think, will be a lot better than this horrible wrapping up tackling or someone intercept the ball and these lackluster, effort to tackle someone, because nobody want to hurt anybody. So that's my suggestion real quick. Let's just play flag football, see how that works, because less and less people are going to be tuning into the game, and pretty much they're going to end up doing away with it if they don't get the viewership that they want. So let's just make it a flag football game, and maybe it'd be more interesting, that way, and it'd be everybody eligible. So it's always throwing the ball. You can still run the ball, on it, but I think it'd be a lot better, on that. So we get off that and we're going to stay into football. And I said, we got a little bit of a game coming up this Sunday called the Super Bowl. So it is, I guess it's a big thing. Yes, of course it's a big thing. It's a ginormous thing. Everybody's been on Radio Row and they done had media night and all this stuff. So it's Wednesday, of course. Now we're getting into Thursday. Everything's going to start kind of tailing off, because everybody's going to start gearing up. People are going to be setting up their Super Bowl parties. Side note, party at Tiffany Sports and Hill's house. But it's about to go down. Now, we already know on the Patriots side, Tom Brady, all that stuff. This is about 30th time, going to the Super Bowl. So there's nothing really to talk about there. It's really what I want to talk about is Nick Foles. And Nick Foles, you really got to give him credit. I know a lot of people, are thinking like, oh, maybe they got lucky or anything. I don't think they got to the Super Bowl lucky. Usually you don't get to the Super Bowl being lucky, They had a hard-fought game, playing the Atlanta Falcons. The defense stepped in. Nick basically made the plays when he needed to make the plays. And then, of course, in the NFC Championship game, the Nick Foles that he can be showed up and he put on the show. And when Carson Wentz got hurt against the LA Rams and those next few games, and I've talked about this, because it was leading up to them playing the Falcons, was that he's played horrible games, and he's played against horrible defenses, and the Falcons were going to be his first test, and he passed that test. Then he goes up against a defense that's even better than the Falcons and the Minnesota Vikings, and he gives them the business for 60 minutes in that game. So Nick Foles is a guy who can't. I mean, when his first stint at Philadelphia, when he took over from Michael Vick. He threw for 7 touchdowns in the game. So it's in him. He got it. He said himself, he really just had to get back to just not thinking and then just playing. And I don't think this Super Bowl that's going to be coming up is just going to be, a lopsided competition because of Nick Foles is playing. Other quarterbacks that maybe weren't the greatest that people would think about played in the Super Bowl and they did decent. The first person that come to mind is Jeff Hostetler. He took over for the Giants when Phil Simms went down, and I think it was 3 games. He got him to the Super Bowl, won the Super Bowl. And the other thing is, you got to give Nick Foles credit for the position that he got put in. He didn't get, Carson Wentz didn't get hurt week 6, and he got, 6, 7, 8 games underneath his belt to get ready for the playoffs and make a run and everything. They had 2 games left or 3 games left, and he needed to pick that up quick. He needed to get into playoff mode quick. And I think he's in, he's right where he needs to be. I think this Super Bowl will be a good Super Bowl. I don't think Foles is going to struggle. I don't think you're going to have anyone just having just a horrible game or anything like that. I'm still on the fence of who I'm going to pick. I promise this. Saturday's show, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, thewaitaminuteshow.com. Just tune in there. I will give you my pick then. I will definitely have a pick because I will need to make a pick at that point. But both teams bring great, what am I trying to say? They give you, it's great arguments on both sides as to why each team will win. Eagles got an awesome defense. Patriots defense picked up, as the season went on, as we expected. They weren't going to be horrible, the entire season. And we know the Patriots are resilient. But look at what the Eagles are doing too. And the other thing is a lot of players. There's quite a few players that's on the Eagle team and the Patriots that nobody wanted. And these guys are in the Super Bowl, or that was on the other team. You got Deion Lewis. He was playing for the Eagles, and they were not playing him. He talked about it. He said he wasn't getting any playing time. Then he go to the Patriots. All of a sudden, now Deion Lewis is just awesome running back. Garrett Blount, he just gave the Patriots 18 touchdowns. Now they don't want him anymore. He goes to the Eagles. Now he's back at the Super Bowl. Chris Long, he was with the Patriots. He go to the Eagles. They're back at the Super Bowl. Alshon Jeffrey, nobody wanted to give, not even the Eagles want to give him a contract. They gave him a 1-year contract. He got rewarded with a 4-year deal, 4-year extension. But these are 2 teams where they got people that teams did not want, and they showed up, and I think they're going to show up again and give us, a pretty good Super Bowl. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm not down like some people are, and I'm definitely not down on Nick Foles, because Nick Foles could pull out one of those 7 touchdowns. I don't think he's not going to throw 7 touchdowns, but 4 touchdowns, I could see that. 3 touchdowns, I could see that. I could definitely, see that. And I'm looking at the chat room. Clay Doug MVP Davis is in here. He said the refs made sure that New England had all the Eagles snap counts. So he's already in here, making claim about the Patriots cheating, and I'm sure he's going to get into the refs if he haven't already got into the refs. And side note, ladies and gentlemen, Tiffany Sports and Heels that's in here that is having a Super Bowl party at her house. She has already threatened me. So let the record state that I have been threatened, that bodily harm will be done to me, but it doesn't matter. The Super Bowl party and the after party at Tiffany Sports and Heels house is still going down. Now, I may be announcing it from the hospital, but it's still going down, ladies and gentlemen. I'll give you the info whenever you want it. Just hit me up, and I'll give you the info. But we're going to get off Tiffany threatening my life. But we got a lot of people in the chat room. It's Girly Girl, Mocha Bella. Mocha Bella, I told you, we're going to have a Big L award going tonight. My man Mac Farrell is also in here. And Sid Galloway and a bunch of other people. We'll get to them as well to show them some love. Angry Black Man, I see you in here as well. So, but Nick Foles, I'm telling y'all, Nick Foles, I think is going to surprise some people. That game against Minnesota, I just don't think it was a fluke game. I think Minnesota came off of that win, and that was a big emotional letdown, that they gave. But I just think they came off of that and they were trying to get back to that level. And the Eagles got up on them so quick, especially with the pick six. They were just like, what is going on? And then before they knew it, they were out of it. They were dazed and confused, So Nick Foles, I'm telling you, Nick Foles, watch him. I think he's going to surprise some people. He's going to surprise some people, in this game. And he may work himself into getting himself a deal with a new team. Now, he's already said he'll go back to being Carson Wentz's backup. But if he wins the Super Bowl, I seriously doubt that he's just, I'm just going to sit back and be Carson Wentz's backup. Nah, that's not going to happen. That is not going to happen. So, but what is going to happen? We're going to take a break right now. We're going to come back. We're going to get into some NBA news. I think you heard of a trade that went down. We got some people that got injured and all that stuff. So we'll get into that in just a moment. You're listening to the Wait a Minute Show with your man Jelani JB Bodie and my co-host Lopan, who is doing nothing right now. But we'll be back after these words.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I am Vince Wright, the sports governor, and you know me from the Sports Done Right show. But when I'm not doing Sports Done Right, I'm in the executive mansion chilling with the Wait a Minute Show. That's right, Jelani, Lopan, indeed. Keep it tuned here, y'all. The Wait a Minute Show. My name is Vince Wright, and I approve this message.
Yo, this is your boy Keith C from the
Kicking It With Keith C show.
When I want to jam, I'm jamming with Queen Josie and DJ New as they're kicking those vibes.
Don't be a crook who steals. Buy what you need at DougieDeals.com.
We don't take orders from super fools. We give them.
Give it to you.
Any and all resistance will crumble. Nonsense. There's never been a threat
Squad.
couldn't handle. It is the purpose of the
Squad.
to align our infamous forces against the powers of good and defeat them, leaving us, the rulers of the world.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. We are back. It is your man, Jelani JB Bodie, host of this thing called
It's the Wait a Minute Show.
And we are the official sponsors for the Tiffany Sports and Heels after party of the Super Bowl party. So tune in here. We'll get you your tickets. Everything is free. You just got to win the raffle. We're just going to have a raffle because there's going to be too many people, but it will be going down at Tiffany Sports and Heels house, the after party to the Super Bowl party. Now, we are back. We are talking about NBA news. We got an update, and we're going to get on the Blake Griffin trade in just a moment. But before we get into that, some changes that's probably going to happen, even with this Blake Griffin trade, is that John Wall for the Washington Wizards, is out right now with a sore knee. He looks like he's going to have surgery or have his knee worked on. So he's going to be out right now. They're saying 6 to 8 weeks for recovery. So this is, a question of like, what does this mean, for the Eastern Conference? What does this mean for the Washington Wizards? And I'll tell you what this means. This means that the Washington Wizards, who sit in 5th place right now at 28 and 22, are in some major trouble. Now, they did beat up on, I think, OKC, yesterday. But that's kind of what happens when, you lose a guy, the team rallies around each other, everybody gets amped up, and they're ready to step up, to the plate and everything. But that is something very hard to maintain, throughout the time that he's going to be out. We're talking about over a month. We're talking about almost 2 months of not having John Wall, and it's really going to be put all on Bradley Beal. And they're going to take a step back. And I don't know at this point if they can hold on to make the playoffs. It will be tight in they could drop